What's going on, guys? Overman back again, and today we're going to talk about Overwatch. Now, when I first saw footage of this game, I have to admit I really wasn't interested and I really didn't understand the hype behind it. But then I saw that they were having an open beta, so I decided to give it a shot. And if I had to compare Overwatch to a girl, it'd be some girl that you start messing around with because she's cute or whatever, not really expecting anything serious to come of it, but through messing around with her, you realize that you actually really like this girl. And that's exactly how I feel about Overwatch. I went into this open beta with no expectations at all. I just wanted to see what this game was all about, and I was incredibly surprised by how much I enjoyed it, and my experience has been the same so far with the full release. But what does that mean for you, the viewer? Does the fact that I really enjoy this game mean that you should pick it up too? Of course not, because this game is not for everyone. If you didn't know, Overwatch is a multiplayer only, objective-based team shooter, or hero shooter if you prefer. There's 21 playable characters that are separated into 4 groups: offense, defense, tank, and support. And these are pretty much what you would expect. Offensive characters excel at dishing out damage and getting kills. Defensive characters are good at setting up and holding down an area. Tanks draw aggro and serve as distractions, allowing your teammates to do their thing, and support characters help their team out with various buffs. And the cool thing is that no two characters offer the same experience, even if they're in the same group. Now, I've played with all the characters, and I have to say that this is the best damn thing about this game. Each character has their own weapons, abilities, and playstyles, and because of that, each character offers their own unique experience, which I haven't gotten from other first-person shooters. If you use the KN-44, no one needs to tell you how to use the CUDA. You point and shoot. Sure, there's differences between rate of fire, recoil, and damage, but ultimately your playstyle and experience doesn't change that much in between the two weapons. But if you switch classes in Overwatch, you'll be having a very different experience. For example, let's say you start off the game playing as Tracer. Tracer is the most mobile character in the game, but she has very low health. So generally, as Tracer, you want to stick to the flanks, pop in close, do some damage, maybe get a kill, and pop back out. Hit and run, basically. But let's say you wanted to switch classes, so you switch to Widowmaker. Now you're going to be playing very defensively. You'll use your grapple hook to get to a vantage point so that you can snipe from a distance, and you'll drop your mine down to let you know if anyone is trying to flank you. And I really like that about the game. There's no progression system in Overwatch. You don't unlock any new characters, weapons, or abilities when you level up. Those are all unlocked by default. So you're never playing this game just to unlock something. You never have to grind or play this game like it's your second job. You play for 2 reasons: for fun and to learn. Overwatch is all about learning how to play all of the different characters, but also when to use them. You see, every character in the game has counters, so the hero that you choose will be strong against certain heroes and weak against others. And that's where team composition and hero switching comes in. Team composition is important because you want to take advantage of your teammates' strengths whenever possible, but also protect them from the heroes that they're weak against. So if I see a good tank on the team like Reinhardt, I might consider picking Widowmaker to take advantage of the distraction that tanks usually provide, but also just to watch out for an enemy Pharah, since she can cause problems for Reinhardt by jumping into the air and shooting rockets at his back. And since you can switch heroes whenever you die, your team composition may have to change over the course of the game in order to counter what the enemy team is trying to do at the moment. And that's a big part of the skill gap in Overwatch, being able to assess the situation and decide what your team needs to do in order to win. And I actually really like that, but I think at the same time, a lot of people will probably dislike that. Some people just want to come home and shoot people in the face for a couple of hours before bed, and hey, if that's you, that's fine. Just know that this game probably isn't for you if that's the case. And another thing is, as you've probably already noticed, teamwork is very important in Overwatch. It's not the type of game where you can run around like Rambo and do well. So if you decide to pick up Overwatch, I highly recommend that you finesse some of your friends into getting it too, especially because there's so much room for you guys to come up with interesting strategies. For example, the other day I was playing Escort and I was on offense. My teammate was playing as Torbjorn and I was playing as Reinhardt. So he says that he's gonna put his turret on the payload and he asks me to put my shield up to guard it. So I said, why not? I gave it a shot and we ended up steamrolling the other team in what was probably the easiest game of Escort that I've ever played. And there's so many more strategies that you and your friends could come up with as well, and better ones at that. But I do have to warn you, if you get put on a team with people who don't know what they're doing or just don't care, you're probably gonna have a bad time. Now I will say that in my experience, blowouts are infrequent, but they do happen. Every once in a while you get a few teammates who just don't give a fuck. So you might have 3 Bastions on offense, 4 offensive characters being played by people who aren't very good at playing them. A couple of guys playing Widowmaker and Hanzo who feel the need to do an emote every time they hit a shot only to be instantly counter-sniped, and so on and so forth. And that's not really Overwatch's fault or Blizzard's fault, it's just the nature of the game, but at the same time I did want to warn those of you who are interested. Hopefully these issues go away once people have time to learn the game, but I don't know, we'll see. So I've been pretty damn positive about Overwatch so far, which is very unusual, but that doesn't mean that the game is perfect, because I do have my issues with it. My biggest issue is the lack of game modes. This is a multiplayer only game, and there's only a few game modes. There's the basic capture point where one team attacks the objective and another defends it. There's the escort mode where one team has to escort a payload from one side of the map to another, and then there's a King of the Hill style of game mode where both teams fight for control of a single objective. And there's also a weekly playlist. So as of right now, the weekly brawl is Super Shimada Bros, so you can only use Hanzo and Genji and their abilities charge faster than normal. And all those are nice, but I think that Overwatch would have really benefited from 2 or 3 more game modes. Because while I'm not bored of Overwatch right now, I can totally see myself getting a bit tired of it within a couple of weeks. And if we take a step back and really look at what this game offers, you can say yeah, the 21 playable characters are great, and they are the meat and potatoes of the Overwatch experience. But when you look at the number of game modes, in my opinion, it just comes up short. Now I'm not asking for a long laundry list of game modes like you get in something like Call of Duty. COD has to offer a bunch of game modes because there's not much depth and variety in COD's gameplay. But of course, Overwatch does have a lot of depth and variety in its gameplay, so I think it's okay for Overwatch to have fewer game modes than something like COD. But at the same time, it would have been really nice if Overwatch came with just a couple more game modes. But on the bright side, Blizzard has said that they're gonna be supporting Overwatch with free content updates. So far, I know that they've said that all future maps and characters will be free, so hopefully they'll throw some game modes in there for free as well. And I can't wait for them to introduce new characters and game modes because they'll offer us a bunch of new experiences to have. The cool thing about new characters is that they bring back some life in the old characters as well, because if there's new characters to go learn and play with, that means that they must be weak or vulnerable to some of the already existing characters. So while some noob is trying out a new character, you can knock the dust off of one of your old favorites and put in some work against the new blood. And of course, these free updates will be paid for with microtransactions. Overwatch has these things called loot boxes, which are very similar to supply drops in Call of Duty or battle packs in Battlefield. But thankfully, these loot boxes only contain cosmetic items like emotes and skins. You can earn one box every time you level up or buy them for real life money. Now, I know some people are going to be annoyed and upset by the fact that this game has microtransactions, even though they're just cosmetic. And I'm not saying that I like microtransactions because I really don't, but it's hard for me to hate on it when they're just cosmetic and we're getting free content in return. And the great thing about free content is that it won't divide up the community, it'll keep us all together. You see, in games like COD or Battlefield, after the DLC drops, everyone's experience gets a little bit worse, because all of a sudden matchmaking has to separate those with DLC and those without, resulting in poorer connections and less overall fun. Plus, those games never just drop one DLC, it's always multiple DLCs, so the problem gets even worse. So, I'm totally in favor of this system, and I think that this is the correct way to do microtransactions, because at the end of the day, both sides win. The players get free content, and the devs and publishers get some extra bread. However, Blizzard hasn't exactly been transparent about how often they plan on dropping these updates. And I know that may make me sound like an entitled brat, but I think it's a fair concern given how little content is actually being offered here. Don't get me wrong, the 21 characters are plenty, and I think they're great. But I think it's fair to say that there isn't much that Overwatch has outside of that. But if we're gonna talk about the value for money, we of course have to consider if the amount of content and the quality of that content is worth the asking price, and that's a little bit difficult to talk about. You see, there's 2 versions of Overwatch that you can buy. There's the standard edition, and then there's the Origins edition. I purchased the standard edition for $40, which includes the base game and nothing else. The Origins edition costs $60 and includes the base game plus a whopping 5 skins. So basically, it's an extra $20 for 5 skins. And I'm sure some of you are saying right now, Overman, don't bitch about it. You don't have to buy the Origins edition, you can just buy the standard edition. Yes and no. I was able to buy the standard edition because I play on PC, but for those of you on console, there's no standard edition available. So if you want Overwatch on the PS4 or the Xbox One, you must buy the Origins edition, which costs $60. $40. And I think that's booty, because while I think Overwatch is a great game, I think that $40 is as high as the price should be. Plus, it just seems unfair that us PC players have the option to buy the standard edition when those on console don't. Now, I know some people are gonna say, well, that's because on PC, you just buy the game through Blizzard's client, but on console, you have to sell it on the Microsoft and PlayStation store, and that means that Sony and Microsoft take a percentage of each sale. And while yes, that is true, I don't think that that justifies them not offering the standard edition in some way. First off, they could have simply offered the standard edition at $45 or $50. That way, people still have the option to save 10 to 15 bucks. The other thing is that aside from playing against bots, this is a multiplayer only game. So that means that player populations are very important. And because they're only selling the $60 version on console, less people will buy the game, resulting in lower player populations, which is no bueno for a multiplayer game like this. So either way, I think it's booty that they're not offering the standard edition in some way, shape, or form. But that's me. Whether you pick up this game on console or not is up to you. Are you the type of person that enjoys sandbox, fast-paced, objective, team-oriented action? Do you want to put in time to learn all the different characters and all the different tactics in order to win? If so, then I think you're really going to enjoy Overwatch. But if you're more into just running around Rambo style and getting kills without a care in the world, then you should probably pass and maybe consider picking up something like Doom instead. As for me, I can't wait to upload this video so I can get back to playing Overwatch some more. So that's it for this one. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to smash that like button. If you're not feeling too shy, drop a comment down below. Let me know what you think about Overwatch so far. And if you want to see more videos like this in the future, be sure to hit that subscribe button and follow me on Twitter. Link will be in the description box below. But that's it for this one though, guys. Overman out. That's it for this one though.